How are you guys? You alright? How's everybody doing? Good? Good. So today I'm going to talk to you about how I built my photography business with social media. So just a quick introduction of myself. Hi, I'm Oliver, for those who don't know me. It's really nice to meet you all. So I've been doing product photography and videography for the last 5 years. And I've really been inspired through kind of social media platforms to be as creative as possible, you know, seeking opportunity in social media and finding ways to generate business for photography. So a little introduction about myself. So I'm from the Isle of Wight, and these are some of the photos that I've taken of my beautiful island. I've lived there for a few years now. It's an amazing place. I don't know if anybody's been to the Isle of Wight. Yeah, a few. But yeah, it's a fantastic place and I recommend it to anyone. If you wanted a short weekend away, it's a great place to go. Bit more about what I do. So I do product photography and videography, working with brands worldwide. I worked on a few major campaigns, including Rockstar Energy, and some of my more recent work with Dubai brands like Latafa, to really help elevate their social media and make it stand out. And here's a few more of my photos, and I kind of worked as well with different compositions, trying to capture sort of splash shots, just interesting things with balance, to make it kind of like stand out really. And then the other thing that I've done more recently and something that I'm really passionate about now is videography. So I've worked on a few campaigns with these brands and they've asked me, and I've noticed the pattern as well, that people say, oh, you know, do you do videos as well? So then I've gone on to that and I've created some really interesting shots for launches, or just interesting social media pieces of content that kind of grab people's attention and make it awesome for their profile. So with my social media, it's kind of crazy for me to think that in the last 5 years I managed to build up this many people, but it's all through kind of getting into that stage of giving things a go. You know, like you have to be able to be brave and put yourself out there, but there's no shame in that. You know, it's just about being passionate about what you do, and people really kind of get into that and understand what you're trying to show. And it's the same with brands as well, and they can see the passion in what you're doing. So I just kind of want to break down to you now a little bit about my growth, because I think people may look at this and think, okay, it's taken you 5 years to get to 1 million followers, you know, that's quite a long time still. But the change was really in the first year. So in 2020, I experimented a lot with just pieces of content. Anything at all really, any type of photography content. And that got me to 10K followers. And the same with Instagram, I was just uploading photos like most people would. And that's got me to 3K. But within the first year to 2021, I shot up to 350,000 followers from following a strategy that allowed me to be able to continue to grow year after year. And you can see how this is continue to increase quite nicely year after year. And obviously at some point I really hope that I'm able to reach 1 million on one of those platforms as well. So I just want to kind of get a raise of hands from you guys, like how many of you are actually trying to generate business through social media? That's a lot of you. Yeah, that's awesome. So what I'm going to do is take you a bit on my journey in terms of how I did it, but kind of give you some tips and tricks along the way. If you're trying to do stuff in photography, that's awesome, but it can still apply to your business as well, and really take your stuff to the next level. So how did I kickstart my business? Well, I actually come from a digital marketing background. So I specialize in things that are to do with building websites, looking at SEO, graphic design, paid ads. And it really gives you the knowledge and insight into all these things that we implement into social media. But the two things that really stood out to me were photography and social media. And of course, I wanted to combine those two together, and they gelled really well. So why social media? Why do we use this tool? Well, you're showing your skills and expertise. You know, you're trying to stand out. You're trying to show to people what you're able to do. It's a bit of your personality, And from that, you're able to gain new opportunities working with really cool brands. People will spot you. And obviously over time as well, you'll build credibility and visibility. And that's what's continued through my profile. So I just want to show you where I've come from and how things have started. So in 2019, this is when I first started to take things a bit more seriously. And the video's not complex at all, but it was the wake-up call that I needed to get 1 million views. And I didn't expect this at the time. I was just experimenting, but I'll show you guys, this is all it took for me to get 1 million views at that time. So the video really isn't that interesting. I look back at it and I kind of think, why did I do that? But to be honest, I think at the time it was interesting to people because you're kind of capturing the world in a glass ball. And I think visually it looks very interesting. And the lens ball at that time was very popular. It's sort of like a gimmicky accessory really. And not many people I see use it now, but it's kind of riding that trending wave of what people were using, and I think people were kind of inspired by that type of content. The problem I had was when I started my business in 2019, I didn't expect something like COVID to hit. So you think, this isn't going to go very well. I've lost my business at this point because it's now going downhill. I'm not in lockdown at home. There's nothing that I can possibly do. But what do you do when things actually become out of your control? Well, you regain control by seeking opportunity. And that's exactly what I did with TikTok. I was looking for the opportunity where I could actually say, hey, I've been put in a situation and it's difficult for my business, but I'm going to make a positive approach to it. So the art of creating from home is where it all started. And it started in the shed. I don't know if anybody has like a space at home, but for me, I was living with my parents and I had a shed that I go to create my content. And it's just about how much could I actually create at home in this space with what I have. Because I wasn't able to go out, I couldn't do things like I was doing before. So I had to be innovative and try different approaches. And all I had in equipment was a camera, phone and tripod. And I was trying to search for things to add on top of this to make things more interesting, but also inspire people along the way so they could also do things from home too. But I was also looking at cost-effective solutions because I realized that there's this approach where you can say, okay, if you can basically spend next to nothing on something, then you can actually create interesting results like this for brands to look at, and they can still spot you during difficult times. So when I created this video, which I'll show you in a second, I basically spent no money on this, apart from the pocket light and LED wires, which was something that I looked into on the internet with long exposure techniques and kind of getting into that. So I'll show you how it works, and this is kind of my first proper behind the scenes video. And that approach there really helped me with brands because it just showed what I was able to do in those difficult situations. But I think it also inspired people along the way to think, okay, well, if he's done it with that, I have a few pieces of equipment like this, I can probably give that a go as well. And I've never seen techniques like this before with long exposures for product photography. So I feel like that really stood out to people. And now I continued this pattern throughout. This was the thing that really made me stand out on social media. 2020, I was trying to do weird things like I'll make a watch commercial in my room, and then I'll do things with abstract foil, trying to create textures, new medias, and things like this with rain as well. Just something that's different that people can also try and it's successful to do. I still took that in 2020 and learned more and more as I went into 21 to 23 because I wanted to get into product photography more. I really realized the potential in doing this, but also I just wanted to be able to show that even with those simple hacks, you can still make a standout product shot that was very different from what other people were doing. And because of this, I not only inspired people along the way, but brands were really inspired by what I was doing. And I got to work with some amazing brands over the years, people that I had dreamed of potentially working with at some point in my career, but not so early on, like working on the Rockstar Energy campaign, having BBC contact me, people like this that really shocked me that they loved what I did and were inspired by my work. But now what I want to do is talk to you guys about what I actually learned along the way, and these are sort of tips and tricks that you can implement into your business and make yourself stand out a bit more. So the simple version of it with building a funnel is, I want to upload content on social media, I want to be able to get a lead, and hopefully that turns into project work. The one valuable thing that has really helped me is having a website. I know so many people that have great social media platforms but don't have a website. And the website should be the core of your business, because it allows you to be able to take that traffic and flow it through into the content that you're creating and push people in different directions. But if you guys don't know how to set up a website, there's 4 things that you really need. Obviously, having a domain name, buying that, hosting, which allows your website to be live on the internet, a content management system, which is like WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, something that I'm sure you're all familiar with, and then also being able to build and add content into your site, build a portfolio, build something that people can really look at and think, wow, I want some of these shots as well for my content. But I just want to show you a simple diagram of what would happen potentially from TikTok. Say you got a viral video, maybe there's 50,000 people that watched your video. Well, that flow of traffic could go into your website. One person might go and follow you on Instagram. 3 people might inquire. They might be marketers, CEOs of a company. And 3 other people might think, oh, does he do longer form tutorials? Can I go to YouTube, watch a 10-minute video and learn something else? So it's about moving that traffic effectively and making sure that people have access to other things that you do. Because I'll say one thing to you as well, that if your social media completely disappeared, can your business still run? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. And I know for a fact that with the contacts and people that I've built up over the years, I'm still able to get in touch with them and provide interesting content for people just because I have a website. The other important thing as well is having connections, because in a world of algorithms, hashtags, and followers, know the importance of a human connection. And that really was the key thing in starting out in my journey, because I still had skills that I could use and really share with people. So I had a message one day from someone I knew from a previous job, and John said, I'm wondering if you could help, I need a website. And I was like, no problem, I can make one for you. And I know that's not photography, but the way I looked at it as a business was like, I need investment into my business. When I come out of lockdown, I need funding to be able to get the right equipment and then accelerate myself into what I actually want to do. The third point is engagement. Understanding social media is about being able to engage with people effectively. So you've got to stay active. You've got to be able to show that you're active on stories, posting, regular basis. It doesn't have to be every day, but every week is really, really good. Being on trend with what you're doing as well. You have to be able to look at things online and think, can I implement this into my business? This is a trend that someone else is doing, and it's really popular at the moment, but can I also do that myself? And being able to build a community is key. You want to be able to have a group of people that look at you and think, actually, I'm really inspired by his work. I want to be just like that. I'm going to follow him because I want to stay in touch with what he's doing, because he's really driving the industry with what's going on now. Easy ways to increase your community engagement are things like sharing polls to better understand your audience. I do this all the time. I say, okay, guys, did you like shot 1 or shot 2? I've done photography and videography recently. Do you want to see more photography? Do you want to see more videography? I also found that developing a video series is really effective. In the early stages in 2021, I was doing awesome product photography shots that you can try from home from 1 to 20, and people wanted to see the next one. people were suggesting products they wanted me to photograph, and that really stood out for me in terms of the content that I was doing. Something else that I think people don't do often as well is follow up with another question. If you get a bunch of people comment on your videos, ask them a question back. Say, you know, what did you like about the piece that I made? Did you actually prefer shot 1 or shot 2? Don't go with the whole thanks, you know, appreciate the comment, and just keep responding with the same stuff. I think it's really important to be able to show that you have other sides of your engagement as well. Now let's get on to creating content. The algorithm is the thing that everybody gets scared of, what everybody hates. And I think there's lots of misconceptions about the algorithm. So I'll start off really simple with the key thing with Reels is watch time. Forget everything else, forget likes, comments, you know, that sort of thing. It's about how long can someone retain their engagement on that video and watch the video through. If you can get someone watching it 2 times over, you're onto a winner, really. And that's what you want to focus on, is having an engaging hook that people can look at and think, what's going on here? You know, I've tried to create content where people can see what I'm doing, but kind of asking the question subconsciously and thinking, what's this result going to be? I've never seen someone do this before. The other thing to really implement is trending songs. And this is past its time now, it's not trending anymore, but if it was trending, there would be a little up arrow in the corner on Instagram. And that gives you the opportunity for placement. You want to be able to put your content in a position where people can see you and gain more exposure. You want to be in there on the organic exposure, not paid. And the other misconception as well is with hashtags. I remember when we all used to put 30 hashtags. 30 hashtags was the thing in videos and photos, but that's not the case anymore. You don't even have to put any hashtags if you want to. The reason why I do is because when brands are looking for people to work with, they are looking at you and thinking, okay, well, I'm looking for someone who does coffee product photography. And they will search that into Instagram. So that's why I try to put things about, I'm doing slow motion, it's at 1000 FPS, it's a product video. So there's a chance that brands will spot me, and hopefully I'll rank higher when people are exploring that stuff. This is a bit of a different side to my content, but it's because I like to experiment with things and also show my creativity. So global trends can really equate to viral videos quite easily. If you see something that's going to be quite big online, for instance, when the Wonka film came out, I knew this was going to be huge because people love this film. People want to see the new one and feel the same thing that they did when Charlie and the Chocolate Factory came out. But I wanted to create a video that showed my creativity, but also tapped into that wave. So I planned this before. I knew when the film was launching, but this is the content that I created to launch exactly on the week of when the film came out. So it's a little bit of a jokey thing, something that I think was fun and creative, but it tapped into an audience that was really passionate and enjoyed things like this with this film. But that generated me 5.7 million views just from doing that, because I was able to ride the wave of the Wonka film, be a part of it, and even the Wonka film saw it and shared it on their social media, which drove even more views to my profile. So I want to talk to you as well about what not to do when you're posting. Don't just create content for the sake of it and post something that's low quality. And what I mean by that is, you know, taking your phone out and just doing a quick little 5-minute thing, say about what you're doing. I think it's got to be professional, it's got to be cut up as good as possible. And it doesn't need to be high-end, it doesn't need to be cinematic or anything, but it needs to be in an application like CapCut or maybe a video editing software on your computer. So if you've got music going on in the background, the cuts are on beat, it's clear for people to see. Maybe you've recorded it in 4K, and also being able to just show the quality in what you're doing, because if you're cutting it up properly, then people are seeing that you actually produce high quality work. Don't also repeat your videos that don't work. People sometimes get into this mindset where the thing that I'm doing is going to be the thing that is going to go big. But if people are watching it time and time again and your views aren't going up, then don't repeat that thing. It may be that it's the hook of your video, it may be the middle bit of your video, but you need to be able to assess that content and think, okay, does this actually work for me? But I'm actually going to go and try and rework this whole thing, maybe go down a different route, learn from other people, and upload a new piece of content. If you're not engaging with others, like I mentioned earlier, you'll notice a knock-on effect of that later on. If people come to your video, you get 50,000 views, 100,000 views, and you get a surge of comments, reply to as many comments as possible. You want those people to know that you're active, and you're going to get them to stay there, because your following is really important. That community you're trying to build is important. People are inspired by your work. That's why they're commenting. Get them to stay on the platform so that they watch the next video. Copying someone else's content. This has happened to me a lot. The videos that I produce are quite simple, but it also means that people just copy it and have it as their own. And as much as that works for a certain amount of content, it doesn't make you unique as a creator. The importance is showing your personality and what you're doing. You don't want to be copying someone's content so you just become like everybody else. What's the thing that makes you stand out? But what's good to do? Like I showed you before on the Wonka video, experimenting and adapting your ideas is sometimes the best thing you can do. Because when you try something, you never know the result. And make sure as well that you upload that content with purpose, because you want to be able to say, I'm uploading this piece of content because I want this particular brand to spot my work. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about it, and I want other people in the community to know that I do similar things. Have a reason behind what you're uploading. Like I mentioned as well, look out for trending topics and songs. The trends are the thing that's going to make you accelerate quicker. Finding trends that you can jump onto is just pushing your content out further very, very quickly. And of course, just be passionate about what you do. Don't try to be someone else. Just really, really go with your gut and think, this is what I love doing, so I'm going to continue making content like this. And obviously you hope that people can see the authenticity in what you're doing, and they just want to be able to follow and engage with that more. So I've broken down one of my videos, another one that's got 11 million views. This was a brand partnership I did with Zion. And what I wanted to show you is the sections of it that I think really stood out to people, the reason why it got 11 million views. So I started off with a strong opening hook. A mobile photography, videography idea with a laser effect. And people are probably curious by that. They're probably thinking, well, how is that possible? How can you do something with a mobile phone and create a laser effect? But I've added in points of interest that add to people's curiosity. No one had a clue what these were. They're bathroom tiles. I had to comment that so many times. They're just bathroom tiles. But people were really interested in the texture element of this and the shape and what it was and whether they could get like a full-blown desktop of it. But that's the thing that people were engaged with most. But the added bit on the end is the relatable content. Because I'm using a phone, people think, I've got a phone. I could potentially do that. I've got a tripod. I could set that up. And this is what I showed in the video. And Zion were really impressed with the results of this. But it was a hack that just allowed you to make your product videos a little bit more interesting. But you can kind of see from that how simple the technique is, but it's just to create a nice product shot video for, you know, whether it's your brand or whether it's for you personally that you can share with other people. But I just want to finish by saying as well that for those people like sat here, just don't wait for the opportunity. You know, now's your time. You know, this is like the peak time to create content. I wanted to be able to inspire people with what I do and not just only work with brands along the way, but I'm telling you now, just create it. Just be able to take your phone out, whatever you've got. If you're passionate about something, just do it, and you'll be surprised by the results. I've spent 5 years doing this, but I think there's a lot of people in this room that could do it in a lot less time. But yeah, I just think, don't wait, just find the opportunity and go for it. So thank you for watching today. I really appreciate you all being here. And of course, if you've got any questions at all?
First. Thank you very much for the presentation.
That's all right.
I did have one question regarding copyright. So, to use somebody's brand for your video,
Yeah.
you need the permission to do that, right? So, how do you work around the copyrights?
So if I'm creating content so do you mean for like brand partnerships, or do you mean for like just creating content?
Just creating content.
So when I'm creating content, I think when you're doing stuff, it's just important to disclose that you're doing this as like a content idea. It's not, you don't get copyrighted on that for coming up with concepts, because people do that all the time. Even when they're trying to propose an idea to a brand, they'll make things in their room and demonstrate what they're able to do. So you can just do that at any point. But you don't want to say, for instance, with this one, where I had, sorry if I go back, with this one, I can't say that I worked with The Ordinary. I know that, because I didn't. But I'm able to demonstrate what I'm able to do if I were to.
Hey, thank you so much for the talk. It's amazing.
That's all right.
Very impressed. How do you get inspired?
How do I get inspired? Endless hours of research. I'm constantly on Google, just thinking about textures, going to different places. I'll go to the shops not to buy something, I'll go to the shops to look at the posters of people's work and see what they've done. Because I like looking at elements and thinking, oh, okay, well, if I took a part of that and just kind of changed it in my own style, maybe that could be a different technique that someone hasn't done before. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
I really like what you do, first and foremost.
Thank you.
How are you really working for brands for free to get like a booking so that you can charge them later on? Is that something that you do? Is that something that you kind of recommend?
So sorry, say that again? So
work for brands for free. So So basically do something, a demo video, demo kind of photographs for them.
Yeah.
So that you can get some work later on. Is that part of your model?
Yeah,
recommend?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit part of it. I mean, that's why the social media is there, because I'm sort of doing that bit for free where I'm demonstrating what I'm able to do. And because of the views that I'm getting, eventually brands kind of clock onto it because they're so active on social media anyway. And then eventually I might get someone thinking, oh, you know, could you actually do something for that? Or could we use that content? It was actually so good. Can we post it out there? So you could do something for free. You could email that brand and just say, I did this for you, follow up and say, would you be interested in kind of creating some more content like this? But yeah, I think that's why social media is so good, because it just sort of opens that door. If you can get people engaging with it, brands are so active, they're gonna potentially see your work anyway. Is that it? Thank you so much, guys. I will say, if anybody wants to have a chat with me after, I'll hang around in this area. Feel free to grab me, and I'll try to talk to as many people as possible if you've got any more questions. But thank you, I really do appreciate your time.